Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Effortless program on NPR. I'm Spiegel. Over here is your other co-host, Piddle.
Hello.
This is the show where we talk about games, and we also talk about some other things as well. And, okay, I'm not doing that anymore.
This is where you get all your news.
So I want to talk about food again because I'm hungry. And we have been eating a lot of crap recently, especially me. I had like so much garbage yesterday from fast food places. But we had, well, I don't want to talk too much about all the garbage I've been eating, but I did want to talk about eating while gaming because this was a topic you brought up like right before, like the very first time we even did a show. You wanted to talk about snacking while gaming.
Yes.
And so I don't know, what is your snack of choice when you play a game?
Well, now that you say you eat unhealthily, I'm going to feel really bad. So, once upon a time...
What do you eat, carrot sticks with peanut butter or something?
Close, but not quite that bad. Once upon a time, my go-to snack when I gamed was Cheese Nips.
Ooh.
Always Cheese Nips. Not Cheez-Its.
No, Cheez-Its suck compared to Cheese Nips.
Cheez-Its suck.
Cheese Nips are the best.
It was always Cheese Nips. Or it would be Goldfish crackers. Goldfish crackers were amazing as well.
Goldfish are still amazing. A side note, I went into a Target the other day and we were shopping for groceries or whatever, and I saw these goldfish and they were like Pizza Blast Extreme Goldfish or whatever. And I'm like, wow, that's so 90s. Like the 90s are making a comeback, man. We got games like Splatoon, we got Pizza Extreme Goldfish or whatever. It's great.
Delicious.
The 90s were great.
I actually thought I was really clever with goldfish because I had a lamp right next to my bed, and I would heat up the goldfish crackers right next to the light bulb before eating them.
Why? Does it make them better?
I thought it did.
So you would have Cheese Nips and goldfish crackers. So I always find that I don't really do a very good job of eating while I'm playing games because I require both my hands. So how do you just reach over and just grab it and then and the other thing is I'm OCD about my controllers being like super shiny clean, which is why I hate the matte finish on the gamepad.
Oh yeah. The Wii, I mean, why could they not have had a black Wii on release?
Well, the black Wii was bad too because it also had a matte finish just like the Wii U did.
This is true.
So
but I don't really care about the matte finish. I just care about
it does look like crap. It's all scratched up and all this. So, but how do you solve the problem of the the cheese on the controller?
So, getting the cheese off the controller, you just wipe your hands, paper towel. I mean, doesn't that make sense?
Well, I mean, so I have to have a paper towel with me when I'm playing a game. Like that seems like a lot of work for something that's.
Well, you have to go get a snack, don't you?
I don't know. I feel like I'm satisfied by just playing a game.
Or if you don't care,
if
you don't care, you can just slobber. You can lick off all that cheese and then just put your slobbery hand all over the controller.
That's even worse. I wouldn't do that.
It's your controller. Who cares?
I don't want people looking at that and being like, oh, well, you're just a slob who licks his controller or something. This is the worst topic we've done for sure.
No, it's not. I love it.
Well,
it's a perfect topic.
It's up there. Well, it fits sort of the conversation. Speaking of snacks, like when you were in school, what was like the most popular snack? Like I remember my school had like the one that the thing that everyone wanted to trade for basically, and then the guy who had that had all the power. Does that make sense?
All I can think of is elementary school. Whoever had the fruit roll-ups.
Oh yeah, that was a popular one for sure.
Like whoever had the fruit roll-up, you wanted that fruit roll-up.
Yeah, speaking of the 90s, like fruit gushers were always a big thing at my school. We were at the time in elementary school when the Top Ramen craze was huge, where they just bring the bag of Top Ramen and put the seasoning in it and just eat it dry. You remember that? Were you?
I could not eat ramen dry.
Really?
Like I know people who like insisted that you try it, and I was just like, nope, not me.
It was actually, I thought it was pretty good. Like, I eventually started doing it too. And then, like, there were all those news reports that were like, you shouldn't let your kids eat Top Ramen at school because they're going to die at the age of 11 or something. And then my parents wouldn't let me do it anymore because of the local news with its scare tactics.
Just like, I don't know. Who cares?
The local news is the worst.
It is.
They never say anything worthwhile.
Except for the weather.
Speaking of nothing worthwhile, let's continue on with our topics.
Well, what are some of your favorite snacks?
Well, like I said, the big ones in my school were always Fruit Gushers and the Top Ramen. Also popular were the oh shoot, the those potato chips that would the Pringles in those little mini cans. You
Yeah.
remember those like the snack packs or whatever.
Yep.
Pudding, specifically vanilla pudding, was always very popular at my school. And of course, there was that annoying person who was like, I don't eat vanilla pudding. The only pudding I like is rice pudding. And then she was exiled forever.
I don't know of any of those people, but we do know that whoever it was a she.
Yes.
Whoever it was at your school is always a she.
Well, it's always like, there's always that one kid, like whatever gender they are, that does like one weird thing, and then they are forever just exiled from any form of social activities for the rest of their lives. And that was me too, actually, kind of.
To an extent.
Yeah.
What did you do wrong?
I don't know. I had a weird name, I think was the main one. People made fun of my name a lot.
Shay.
Yeah. Well, I have a full name, but I'm not going to disclose it because I don't like it. So, let's move on from that topic because people are going to start pestering me about it. Oh, this is the worst. People are going to talk about it in the comments now.
Oh no.
I don't care. Whatever. You
well,
make
if you
fun
have
of me
a bad
if you
name
want.
too, share it.
So if you're not, this is
Right.
the user question for the week. If you have a sucky name, share it.
Yeah. Share your awful parent given name.
That's the funniest thing to me. It's like kids will make fun of you for your name, but it's like I couldn't control it. It's not like I decided my name. Like so, kids are brutal, man.
Which,
Like
I really want to look at some of the worst names ever.
kids are brutal. If you're a kid and you listen to the show, give everyone a break. Stop being so mean all the time. Just let people live their lives.
This age, you know that in this age, some of the like awful names coming out right now, it's just like hashtag.
I have seen there. Yeah, did you see that story about the person that named their kid hashtag?
Wait, I was just making a joke.
No, that's an actual thing.
Somebody named their kid hashtag.
I think their first name was hashtag and their middle name was like, I don't know, like hashtag something and then the last name.
Hashtag worst name ever.
Maybe.
Trending now.
Yeah. Hashtag trending now. All right.
Oh
Wow.
dear.
This,
well, I
this
got to
is
share
bad.
some of my other favorite snacks.
Okay, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
I have to. This was a classic staple, and it still is a bit of a staple right now. Oreos and milk.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I mean,
Oreos were super popular.
The only issue is with the Oreos. I mean, I just have to shove them in my mouth as many as I can, and then grab the controller again.
I have to say, you are very lucky that you were a swimmer because you can pretty much eat anything you want whenever.
Yes.
Like that is something that I've always wanted to be able to do, is just be like, I'm gonna eat whatever I want and just never gain any weight. That would be so fantastic. Like
I've
if
been
I
pretty
like,
lucky.
you know how people are like, if I had a superpower, I'd fly or I'd be invisible. That would be my superpower. Eat whatever I want.
Eat
gain
whatever
no
you
weight.
want.
Yeah. And also get no cavities from all the sugar I've been consuming. But
now my snacking's more limited to I eat a lot of fruit now.
fruit.
Yes.
What are you, some kind of hippie weirdo?
I am.
Oh, okay.
I eat a lot healthier now than I used to.
I'm curious, is that because you're getting older and you know that's the right thing to do, or is it just a matter of like circumstance? Like
It's a matter of getting older, and you know that day where you like look at yourself in the mirror and you go, "Oh no,
no, not yet.
it's coming. Don't worry."
I don't want to get old that bad. I don't know. I already feel old. I feel old every day. I have an old man's body. I wake up every morning. There's aches and pains everywhere, and it's gonna be a hard life for me after 50 for sure. But so I'm trying to enjoy it now. This is depressing.
I do have to
Can we
say,
talk about something else?
I do have to say one of the things I love about modern gaming is now we have all these load times, or if you're waiting for an online game, you have to wait for your match in the lobby. So
Yeah.
you have all this time to snack. I mean, it's almost a curse for a lot of people, I'm sure. But it's snack time, really. Take
Yeah.
a break, have a snack.
And
Waiting for that next
shoot
match
up.
of waiting for that next match of Splatoon.
speaking
You
of which, my wife QJ is playing Splatoon in the room right now as I'm watching and recording this show. So if I ever come across as distracted, it's because it's like, oh, more Splatoon. But at the very beginning of the game, it boots up and you're in Ankopolis, and like the little instructions say, whatever you do, don't go down that dark alley, and like that's the first thing that she did.
Really?
Yeah.
Well,
So,
how do you not? I love it. Little things like that
Yeah.
really make games.
Yeah, for sure. So we're speaking of games, we're actually going to talk about games, believe it or not, even though this is at this point the show is not even about anything. We are the Seinfeld of the ZBN. It's just about nothing at this point.
Well, we want you guys to share what your favorite snacks are when you play.
Absolutely. Share your favorite snacks, and don't forget, send some messages to Dr. Piddle and Spiegel, because we're going to help you with your problems, and we're actually going to do that right now.
Ooh.
So this question is from Nintendo Nerd, and the question is, my circle pad is crazy. Should I fix it, buy a new one, or leave it alone? Dr. Piddle, do you have a prescription for this?
It's a very easy prescription.
Okay.
One, yes, fix it. 2, stop playing Super Smash Brothers on your 3DS. Go get a Wii U. Go play it on the Wii U. Just stop.
I actually broke my circle pad originally playing Donkey Kong Country Returns, if you can believe that. Because
actually, I can.
I'm one of those people that tends to overcorrect when playing a platformer. So like I'll move the stick back and forth when I'm in the middle of a jump just to make sure I land it perfectly. And I definitely did that too much in that game, and it ruined the thing.
Control freak, huh?
Yeah, definitely. So you think he should fix it? I actually am going to be one of 10 doctors that disagrees. I think you should leave it alone. The circle pad on my 3DS was broken, and then I kind of fixed it, and then I started playing Smash Brothers, and it broke again. And I was like, you know what? I'm actually honestly more comfortable with it being a little more like sturdy, I guess. It feels more sturdy with the little piece of rubber off of it.
I've actually heard this a lot, that it is.
I mean, it's
pretty comfortable and okay without the piece of rubber.
I mean, it doesn't feel great after a while, like in terms of like how it feels on your thumb, but it's not bad at all. And I'm not gonna say I recommend it, but like, so don't just tear off your circle pad. But I'm saying it's not the worst way to play if your circle pad does break. So that is my response.
Good response.
All right, so better questions.
He's not going to know what to do now.
Better questions next week.
2 different answers.
Yeah, well, you can just pick the person you like better. So oh well.
Me.
Well, that's an interesting user question. Who do you like better? We're not going to get into that though. Don't answer that
don't
question.
Go
No, because that's we both have depression. That's not good. We don't need to hear
Yeah,
that.
we're going to delete all those comments.
Yeah, I don't want to see that. So let's get some really good questions in next week. That's a good start. Better questions next week. Always appreciated. We love your questions. We love talking to you. We love giving stupid advice too. So, yeah, more of that, please. Now we're going to talk about. This is like the most structured episode we've ever done. Usually we just kind of flow, but I feel like we're very robotic today in our approach. Now we are going to talk about 52 games in 52 weeks. We are, what is this, week 8 now, I think?
I am so excited to talk about this week.
So you actually have been playing some games, and I have as well.
Yes, played and beat one game.
What game?
Oh, me first?
Yeah, you go.
All right. I went back into the old classics collection, and I picked out Super Mario 64.
So this is one of how many times you're going to play this game this year? Like 6 or 7?
Probably. Oh, this game in particular?
Yeah.
This will be the only time I play this game.
I hope so, because we really got to get this done.
Yeah.
But Super Mario 64 is awesome, right? I mean, you're going to gush about it right now, I know.
So I've already gushed about it before. I mean, when we talked about exploration and how Nintendo sort of lost their way and their games don't quite have the same charm that they used to have.
Mm-hmm.
And
except for Splatoon, by the way.
Yeah, so I thought, I need to go back. I need to experience this game again. I need to remember I need to know if it's as good as I remember it. Or maybe I just have the nostalgic goggles on and it's not as good as I remember it being, because I have not played Super Mario 64 for probably almost 8-9 years now.
Whoa, really?
I think the last time I played is when it was first released for the Virtual Console on the Wii.
I got the impression that you had played it like very recently. That's what you made it sound like, at least. Like I thought.
I felt like I had.
Wow.
But it was whenever it was released on the Wii Virtual Console was the last time I played it.
Huh. Well, so
And so I've forgotten a lot about the game. I forgot a lot more about the game than I realized.
so you've kind of already teased it a little bit, but so what's your verdict? Is it is it as good as it was?
It is absolutely as good as I thought it was.
Yeah.
It is an incredible game. And if I'm going to get into the details, I'll say it's flawed by today's standards. It's a very, very flawed game.
Okay. How so?
The controls aren't as responsive and give you the ability to like correct mistakes as easily as the controls in a modern Mario game. Pretty much everything since Super Mario Galaxy.
Right.
The controls have been very, very responsive and nice and tight. In this game, I found that like small movements and everything like that are really hard to do, and when you turn around, Mario doesn't always turn around like on a dime.
Yeah.
When you turn the joystick in a different direction, so his momentum will carry him, or instead of like turning directly around, he'll just sort of do a little arcing loop, and you'll like fall off a ledge or something like that. So
Yeah.
that can be a little bit frustrating for me.
Well, especially because they were first like starting to experiment with the 3D platformer, and like that was kind of what your experience would be. You would be trying to turn around, and then you just fall off the cliff because you couldn't actually do it, and that was really frustrating for sure. And they did fix that in Super Mario 64 3D or 3D DS, by the way. Like you didn't really have that anymore.
I don't have much experience with Super Mario 64 DS.
It's not that great, but that was one of the things that was better.
I wouldn't imagine it would be that easy to do, but maybe I'll have to try it out someday.
So
continuing.
everyone knows Super Mario 64, right? Like I feel like this is a game that pretty much everybody has played, or at least everybody who watches this channel probably has played it.
I would hope so. If you haven't, you deserve to play it.
Is this one of those games that you just it's not a bucket list game, but is it a game that you just have to? Yeah, I guess a bucket list game. I guess
it
that'd
is
be
a bucket list game.
So if you haven't played Super Mario 64, go play it. It's amazing.
I would not say that the modern Mario games are bucket list games, but I do believe that Super Mario 64 is.
I feel like one of the Super Mario Galaxies is. I feel like you have to play one of them. I do feel like they did a really nice job innovating with the controls and everything. And just
they did.
The way that that game was designed was very unique, and there really hasn't been another example of a game designed like that since then either. So
I would probably pick the first Super Mario Galaxy, if anything.
I liked 2 better, but that's personal preference.
But continuing on, I'm trying to think of what else I really liked about or bothered me about the game, and the other thing that really bothered me was the camera. The camera in Mario 64, it's sort of well known to be bad. But it is
bad is generous.
It's just atrocious. You are constantly fighting the camera. When you can't adjust it, it's really frustrating.
Right.
It doesn't really get. I mean, even pretty much every controller, every analog controller, except for maybe like the DualShock, has the 8 different diagonal directions notched into the. I'm trying to think about it. Into the controller.
The thing, yeah.
So you can pretty much go in 8 different directions easily, but if you want to be more precise, you can. But generally, it's going to be those 8 different directions that you're going to be moving in.
Yeah.
And Mario 64, it's just like you're constantly trying to go, and instead of one of those 8 directions, you're trying to go somewhere in between those directions. So it demands a lot of precision with the controller.
Right.
And the controller is designed to work and to give precision in a different way. Like you're precisely going in this 0 degree, 45 degree, 90 degree, 135, those kind of angles, not 8 degrees. And
it's not precise at all, basically. It's just kind of...
112.5 32 degrees, and like that's sort of like what the game is demanding from you because of the camera angles that it's offering you.
Right.
Not like Super Mario, the more recent like Super Mario 3D World, which the camera is almost, and the levels are specifically designed where you're always going in like a nice even direction
Right.
based on what the controller does. So that's sort of those are the two frustrating parts of the game for me.
So what?
But once you get past that, what did you want to ask?
Well, I was going to ask
Sorry.
you what is your favorite thing about Super Mario 64? Like, what is it? Just the exploration? Is it like is there a specific level that you really like?
I don't think you can say there's a specific. Well, actually, I think we've gone over this before, but for me, my favorite level in Super Mario 64 is the hub world.
Oh yeah, yeah. You have talked about that.
Yeah. My favorite level, and it still is, even after this replay, it's definitely the hub world. And I'll tell you now, I didn't even touch the whole game. I only played about 8 or 9 of the levels. But like I completed every aspect of those levels. I didn't even get into doing
So you didn't do TikTok
the
Clock
Rainbow
or any of the
Cruise.
Rainbow Cruise or any of
Yeah,
that stuff?
I didn't
like
do Rainbow Cruise or TikTok Clock or...
those levels are so good. How could you skip over them?
It's not that I skipped over them. It's that I had so much fun doing all the other levels.
Yeah. Even though water levels in that game are tolerable, and water levels
Yeah.
suck, and everyone knows that.
Yep. Sometimes the water levels got frustrating for me. Like
I don't dread.
I forgot that in Dire Docks
Yeah, that level sucks.
that there's a sort of a vortex
Oh, in the
that
middle
pulls,
of it, yeah.
pulls you in, and it sends you out to the castle moat.
Yeah.
I forgot about that, and I had completed a level. I had collected all 8 of the red coins in that level, and I got sucked into that.
The worst thing that happens is when you've gotten 100 coins in that level and you try to do that. Did you do the 100 coin challenges or no?
Yes.
Yeah, so that happened to me one time on Dire Docks specifically. I'd gotten 100 coins, and there's only like 105 coins or something in that whole level, so you have to really scour it. And the last coins I happened to get were by that vortex, and I got sucked into it before I could get the star.
That was sort of what happened to me. I went for the 100 coins in that level, and when I did get the 100 coins, it was just so close.
Yeah, it's
So close because I was trying to get those, and I almost ran out of breath with Mario. He almost drowned in the water as I was trying, like frantically mashing the A button to like swim away and just like screaming no 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 no. And it was like sort of a great like tense moment.
Poor Mario.
But at the same time, like
he'll do
if I had screwed that up, I would have been so angry.
He'll do anything for money, even almost drown. Apparently. So
greedy little plumber.
You think we covered enough of Super Mario 64? Are you ready to give it a rating?
Absolutely not.
No?
I'm not ready. I told you I had a lot to talk about with Mario.
All right, go ahead.
One of the other things I love about it, and it hasn't been done in these more recent Mario games, is we've talked about exploration before. And part of the reason that Mario 64's exploration is so great is because the levels and the stars you collect in the levels, the hints or the names of each level are so cryptic. They're cryptic.
Oh, yeah.
But they push you in the right direction.
So you approve of the name Blast Away the Wall in the Whomp's Fortress or whatever it is?
Yes. Blast Away the Wall, which I'm actually watching my girlfriend play Whomp's Fortress right now as we speak.
So for the uninitiated, there's this level in Whomp's Fortress where you have to get in the cannon, and then you just blast at this random like piece of wall, and then there's a star in there. And it's kind of like classic cryptic Nintendo in terms of like how you discover that, because there's no real like character in that thing that tells you how to get there, right?
No, absolutely not. There's nothing.
Yeah, so you're just using yourself and your own wits to figure it out.
Yep, and that's how a lot of it is. There's like pull the piranha plant in the Little Big World.
Oh yeah.
Trying to think of what other ones.
It's almost Zelda-esque, isn't it? Like in terms of how they handle the puzzles.
Yes.
I mean, not puzzles, but the.
Well, it is. Everything is a puzzle.
Yeah. I guess you're right.
So it gives you a great sense of satisfaction when you figure things out.
Yeah.
And then, like, yeah, you have to explore every nook and cranny of these levels in order to figure out what to do. And as I replayed it, there were probably 3-4 times where I was really stuck. Like, I could not remember what I was supposed to do in order to collect the star. And one of the other things that I like about it is, like, even though, like, these messages are cryptic and you're exploring and you're just trying to figure things out, sometimes you'll just come across another star while you're exploring.
That's another thing.
Oh, that was nice.
That's another thing I like. You can get certain stars like super early. Like in the first level, Bob on Battlefield, there's a star that you get from pounding down the chain chomp peg. But you can actually get that star. Like that can be your first star in the game if you want, even though it's meant to be discovered later. It's still it's just a thing that you just find out, and it's man, so good. Such a good game.
It's like I said, it's blown me away with just how clever and creative it is. And yeah, the world, or the hub world, being my favorite level with all the different paintings, and go into a room and there's a mirror and you have to look at the wall and see on one side there's a painting, but on your side there's not a painting, or everything about it.
Yeah,
it's just really, really clever. And I can't praise it enough.
I wonder when Nintendo will recapture that magic. I mean, I don't think that Mario 64 is going to be like a one-time excellence in Mario 3D platforming. Like, I'm not saying that other Mario 3D games haven't been great, but Mario 64 I think stands alone in its excellence, and I don't feel like they've gotten there since then.
So if I had to give a rating, I guess I'll wrap it up. Give it a rating because we have to get onto your game.
I got multiple games actually this week.
Ooh,
yeah,
exciting.
But yeah, go ahead.
If I had to give it a rating, I want to give it a 5 out of 5. But if I'm going to give it a modern rating, like based on games nowadays, I'd have to give it a 4 out of 5.
Wow, really? Have you given it?
I want to give it a 5 out of 5. It's a 5 out of 5 to me. But if I'm rating it as a game,
you're allowed to do that, aren't you? Because I don't know. Like,
if I'm rating it as a game, like today, I would say it's a 4 out of 5, and I would say you still have to play it. It's a 4 out of 5 game that you have to play, but you might get frustrated with it. And it's a game I would love to see them remake if they gave you a camera where you had full 360-degree control, and
the controls were messy.
Controls were a little bit more reactive to what you're doing with the controller.
Yeah.
It would easily be the best Mario game of all time, and I mean right now as it is, it's still a great game, one of the greatest games ever made. But it would even with today's competition and even with the way that games have like developed, if it just fixed those two things, it would stand up as one of the greatest games of like right now.
Huh. Yeah. I mean, I it's hard to disagree with what you're saying. Like, I've had people tell me that they didn't like 64 because it's archaic and the controls are weird and whatever. But I totally agree with you. I feel like it would stand up still to being one of the greatest games ever. And I don't know. I mean, I don't think they're ever really gonna truly remake it in like HD. I mean, they were willing to do it for DS, but I think it's just because they didn't really have anything for DS. And it was
Yeah,
it was still
something.
recent enough to the point where they're like, oh yeah, remember this game? Like, well, we remade it for our new system. Because remember when that game came out, Mario 64 was like 8 years old. Now it's almost 20 years old. So
Wow.
yeah, that's something to think about, isn't it?
Feeling old now.
Yep.
All right, so how about you? What were your 2 games?
So I played 2 games this week after finishing Xenoblade Chronicles. I bought my first PS3 game for my new PS3. No, I didn't buy my first one, but it's the first game I played on my new PS3, and it was Crash Bandicoot, the original game. That's right, not even a PS3 game. I just bought my PS3 for the PS1 games. But
good call.
Yeah. But Crash Bandicoot is frickin' garbage. That game sucks. And like you think, oh, it's Crash Bandicoot. It's a very respected franchise, and it's like it's a classic and all this. Some games are just better left in the past, and Crash Bandicoot is one of them. The very first one, yeah.
Actually, I would mostly agree with you.
So you've played it?
When I was younger, I had played a little bit of Crash Bandicoot 3.
Okay, Warped, right?
Yes, at a friend's house, and really liked it. And eventually, I only played Crash Bandicoot 3 for the first time shortly after it was released on the PlayStation 3,
Yeah.
and the third one was great. But and then I went back and I tried to play 1 and 2, and I have to agree, Crash Bandicoot 1 is not a good game.
Like the second one, I've dipped my toe into a little bit already, just in the past, and and I'm gonna probably buy it again and finish. I'm probably gonna do the first 3 games because even though I know that the first one wasn't good, I know that the second and the third games are much improved. But the problem with the first game is it's so inconsistent with like hitbox, and
Yes.
jumping is like sloppy, and I feel like I'm getting killed from stupid things, and just it's not and I just wasn't having fun ultimately, and that's I feel like for a platformer, if you're not having fun, that's a big concern. And Crash Bandicoot's just a pure platformer, so it was a problem. And there's a lot of good stuff in the game for sure. Like the level design is pretty good, and for the time it looked really nice and all this stuff, but it's just not that great of a game. And
You pretty much nailed the issues with the game.
Yeah.
It's
there you have it.
the hit detection, and
It's just not that
the
good.
level design just isn't quite as good as it gets later in the game.
Yeah.
Or in the series.
And people told me, don't just play, don't just play the first one, just skip to the second one. And I'm like, I can't do that. That's my problem. I have to play all the games in a series. So, so that problem still isn't solved, but at least I got it out of the way, and it's just not that great. And sorry, fans of classic PlayStation, but yeah.
It's an unfortunate truth.
Yep.
All right, so give me a rating.
So rating, I'm gonna go 2.5 out of 5. Like it's playable, and it's I don't know. I've never felt less happy with a $6 purchase, and I feel bad for saying that almost, but it felt like I almost wasted $6.
That actually sounds like a pretty accurate or pretty good choice for a score.
Yeah. So that's what I went with, and then I went and I played another game that I've been meaning to play for a very long time that I've actually owned for quite a while. And it's called Catherine for the Xbox 360, also on PlayStation 3.
Right.
And this is an anime game, very, very Japanese, where you play as a character who has cheated on his girlfriend with a mysterious blonde, sexy lady. And it's
anime.
It's primarily it's actually a very story-based game. So if you're not into that, you're not going to be into this game because basically all it is story plus puzzles that are not. So I'll just come out and say I did not enjoy the puzzle portions of this game. It was not fun to me. They lacked depth when they were easy, and they were too hard when they were hard. So
the worst.
It added up to not a very enjoyable experience. But when you got back,
so I have a question.
Okay.
Then regarding that,
yeah,
is it the type of game where at the beginning of levels they give you directions, or is it the type of game where everything sort of builds upon itself?
So it definitely builds upon itself. Like you'll have like a certain type of block in one stage, and then like the next stage will have that block and a new type of block. So it's almost like a classic Nintendo platformer in the way it introduces those elements. But the problem is that it just gets too hard. Like there's too much stuff to juggle, and it becomes not very enjoyable. But that being said, when you get back to the story elements of the game, it's actually an incredibly well-crafted story. And actually, there's this one particular scene that I'm not going to spoil, but there's this one scene that actually ended up being probably one of my favorites in gaming history. And it's a really well-directed cutscene. One of the interesting things about the game is it jumps back and forth between cel-shaded and the actual like hand-drawn anime, which I didn't really understand why they did that, but it worked.
Yeah, I wouldn't understand.
But the cel shading actually was a really beautiful style, and it worked really well for the game. So I approve of that design choice. And that's Catherine. It's a puzzle game with huge story, and also it's very mature. So you guys probably wouldn't.
Mature how?
Your parents wouldn't let you play it. You wouldn't play it with your grandmother in the room. I'll tell you that right now. So there's that. And it's just, obviously, it's a game that's basically about you had sex with another girl. So I don't know. It's not particularly appropriate for a young audience.
Well, I don't know about this day and age.
Well, it's not appropriate for them. Doesn't mean they're going to not play it.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. So
just like how everybody plays Call of Duty.
Yeah. But as a story, it's very, very good. I highly recommend it. Like if it was an actual anime that you would watch on TV, I would watch it. That's how good it is. And I don't like.
Oh, wow.
I don't particularly care for anime because it's strange and weird. But yeah.
Yeah, anime makes me uncomfortable.
Yeah.
A lot of the time.
Yeah. We've had discussions off the air about that.
Yes, we have.
But
I'm just like, I'm a grown man. Should I be watching this?
yeah, I don't know. It's like, should I? This, yeah, I'm not. No, dangerous area right here. I'm staying away.
Yeah.
So,
And I'm saying this as a grown man who would still watch Blue's Clues.
that show was not that good after Steve left.
Well, no, not after Steve left.
I mean, Joe was okay, but he ultimately failed.
No. Let's forget he ever existed.
No, it's not that I don't know how to put it. I didn't latch on to Joe the same way I did with Steve. Steve was very personable, and he was always reading a very good book.
Joe was like the second Red Ranger
What?
in Power Rangers.
Okay, I don't know what that is.
All right, well,
I'm 90s, but I'm not that 90s.
oh dear.
Anyway, so rating for Catherine, I would give it a 4 out of 5 and a high recommendation to anyone who loves story games. But for anyone else, might not be your thing. But for me, it worked out really nicely because I do love story games. So,
All right.
there we are.
Yeah, good story, goes a long way.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's 52 games in 52 weeks. We're both catching up. How many games are you in now?
Well, I'm not really catching up as much as I held serve this last week. Finishing one game. I really need a week where I finish more than one game.
Well, you've got a lot of short games on here, so you could probably knock out a couple of them. Like
I do have
play
a lot of short
the
games
brand new
left.
Farming Simulator that you have on your list. Farming Simulator 15 just came out. Have you picked
Yes.
Have you picked that up yet?
I do have that.
At the store that I work, there was a pre-order bonus, and it was like this stupid one of those mesh hats that don't fit anybody, and it was just awful, and nobody wanted it, so I just took it home, and then I threw it away before I got into my house because I'm like, I don't need this. So
you took it with the intent of using it and then decided.
yeah,
that
I
you
was
didn't
wearing it
need
on the way home. I'm like, this doesn't even fit me, so forget this. I threw it in the garbage. So
Poor
first world
mesh hat.
world problems.
I
I bet they.
Well,
they,
what do you plan on playing this week?
Let's see. Well, I'm playing Splatoon obviously right now because it's amazing, and Splatoon is really, really good, and I don't think the reviews are doing it justice. We don't need to talk about Splatoon because we're probably gonna end up talking about it a lot on the other show, but
Yep.
it's so good. It's so much fun, and my wife is enjoying it. She's playing it right now, and I've been playing online, and I'm usually the best player on my team, and my team is always losing, and it's frustrating.
There's actually a cute little article on Kotaku right now. Oh, I don't always want to be plugging them, but there's a cute little article on there about somebody's 10-year-old girl and her impressions
Oh, nice.
of Splatoon.
Nice. What does she think?
Well, one thing is that she thinks that voice chat would be nice.
Oh my god. I'm getting so tired of the voice chat thing. Like, I get why people want it, but I feel like it was just a deliberate decision not to include it. So I don't know. I don't know why people are upset about it. I know why people are upset
Well,
about
because
it.
it was a deliberate decision, right?
Well, I don't buy the reason that Nintendo is saying that it creates a toxic environment. I think they decided not to include it because they didn't need it. But you don't want to come out and say, "Oh, we didn't need it." Like what 3-minute match really requires voice chat to coordinate? And I don't know. I feel like the strategy is really simple. It's go to this area that hasn't been painted and stay away from your teammates because it's gonna make it more difficult to like cover more area. That's the strategy. It's not hard, and I don't know. I don't. So people are like, well, I like to talk to my friends when I play games. Like, well, okay, that's you, and that's one thing. But I feel like as a core gameplay experience, you really don't need it. So anyway, that's my opinion on it. And
well, we'll talk more about it.
If people are upset with me about that, they can take it up with me. But I'm not concerned about the lack of voice chat. At least not for the reasons that I explained. If it's really because they didn't want to include it or because they feel like it's a toxic environment, then I have a problem with it because there is a thing called friend chat, and you can just talk to your friends if you want. That's what they did for Mario Kart. So I don't know. They could easily have done that for Splatoon, but
And
that's
the
why I
most
feel like it wasn't
disappointing
included.
thing is just put in friend chat, if anything.
It is kind of silly that they don't have that, but I do think it's going to be patched in, which we could talk about Splatoon's, or we could talk about Nintendo patching stuff at a different time.
A different time, yeah.
Because I don't want to talk about that right now.
Because there's going to be plenty else to talk about. So, safe to say that you're going to be playing just Splatoon this week?
I would say probably. I want to at least complete the single player and get some really good, solid multiplayer time in, and I got a lot of time this week, so I'll be able to get some of that done for sure.
Yeah.
So I'm very excited to play more. I've enjoyed my time with it so much, and you need to get your gamepad fixed so we can play it together.
Yes, I do.
So if you guys are all
The
out there,
never-ending story.
I assume you guys out there are all playing Splatoon right now. Probably even playing it as you're listening to this, maybe. And and if you are, let me finish, man. Let me finish my giant long sentence. If you are, look for me because I'm out there and I will be splatting you hard. Okay, go ahead.
Oh dear.
Splat.
I love it.
Splat.
So actually, good question. Is it Splatoon or is it Splatoon?
The commercials make it sound like it's Splatoon, but I don't know. It's too hard to say. I'm just going to say Splatoon because it sounds like Platoon, which I think was what they were going for. So I don't know. Who knows? It's a mystery.
That's exactly what I don't know. However you want to say it.
Yeah. So anyway, what are you playing this week?
I have not decided for sure yet. What I want to play, and you know why. I want to play The Witcher 2.
Oh, yeah.
I really want to get that out of the way, but that's a pretty long game.
So I have become a very nice person all of a sudden and decided to get a game for Piddle, and the game is The Witcher.
Yay.
The game is The Witcher 3, and I have no shame in talking about this on the show. Yes, I am the nicest person.
Why did you
I am
give
the
it to
nicest
me?
person in the world. I'm not going to talk about that reason.
No?
No, I can't.
All right. We'll just leave it at
Yeah.
that. But yes, he was a very nice friend to me. He gave me The Witcher 3.
Yeah.
I can't wait to play it.
You should figure out a way to...
First, I have to play The Witcher 2.
You should figure out a way to give me a King Dedede amiibo or a Rosalina, the only two that I don't have. I went amiibo hunting yesterday, by the way. I was out early in the morning, went to Target. Freaking stupid waste of time. But I got everything I needed.
Aw.
So,
Poor Spiegel.
yeah, I hate my life. So, what are you doing? So you're playing The Witcher 2 this week, maybe?
I think I might try to knock out another game first before I get into a 20-odd hour game.
I was going to say, if you play The Witcher 2, you're going to be pretty far behind in this 52-52. You're already behind.
So I might end up playing a short game like Thomas Was Alone.
Oh, yeah? That's really short.
Yeah, or To the Moon.
What's that? Is that like Moon Chronicles, but way better?
No, it's
Wouldn't be hard.
I believe it's a little bit of an RPG. It's a really short RPG, I think.
Oh, yeah?
And it's story based from what I understand, and it's sort of in the style of like a 16-bit RPG.
Yeah.
So
Sounds good to me. How long is it, like 3 hours or something?
looks like it's a 4-hour game.
All right. Well, that'll be interesting. I've never played an RPG that's like 4 hours long before.
That's just a guess. I don't quite remember. I've only heard a little, like a sparing amount about it, and all I know is it has a good story. Apparently, a very heartfelt story.
Well, if you do play it, I'm excited to hear about it because I've recently fallen in love with story. Apparently, so like seriously, all the last few games I've played have all been super crazy good stories. 999, Zero Escape, Xenoblade Chronicles, and Catherine, all amazing games with great stories. And,
actually, that's something that I have been noticing.
And the two games that I didn't like as much were Box Boy, which has no story, and Crash Bandicoot, well, it's not a good game at all, but it doesn't have a good story either. So,
no.
So I don't know. We'll see how Splatoon goes. I don't think it needs a story to be good. I'm really enjoying it.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert. It's really good. Yeah. So we need to finish up and talk about our last topic because I have another show to record in like 8 minutes. So I'm sorry.
Yes.
I'm sorry to rush you because I know you had a lot to say on this last thing, but
I don't have too much to say about it. I just think it's something that is sort of related to E3, and
So yeah,
we didn't touch on it very much
so one
last
thing that
week.
a lot of people have been predicting is that a company, doesn't matter who really, but they're going to bring out virtual reality at E3, and it's going to be like the big new thing. And so you
Yes.
have some thoughts on that?
Well, right now it seems we all know Oculus Rift is on the way, and there's been more and more articles about Oculus Rift. They just released the minimum specs or minimum specifications for the Oculus Rift, and they are hefty.
Of course they are.
It's very, very, and I'm not just talking like a little hefty.
Yeah.
I'm talking like we're talking $1,500 computer to play,
See, this is
or
why
in total.
this is why I'm so skeptical about it. Just because I don't feel like most people will be able to get into it, and I feel like that's necessary for building a brand. You need to
So I
have.
don't know what to say, like what to say about that in particular, because on one hand, I think, well, people spent $1,000+ on the iPad when it came out,
So, but here's the key to
and that's not even something revolutionary. But go ahead.
But the key to adapting to new technology is I learned about this in my mass communications and journalism class that I took this semester, and I'm gonna butcher it right now. So it shows how much I learned in that class. But you basically need to have like a way to show people how it's used, because otherwise nobody's really gonna get it. And how do you, like, nobody's gonna buy something if it's not being demonstrated to you in a way that makes sense. And how do you demo a virtual reality thing? You can't. But how do you get it to like the masses to show them how it works? That's the biggest hurdle, and I just don't know how they're going to do that.
They'll find a way.
That is
Actually,
that is
when
a
I think,
really
I think,
bad break in logic right there. They'll figure out a way.
yeah, I think it's going to be harder, especially now that more and more people go online shopping rather than retail shopping.
Yeah,
And at least with retail shopping, you can like show people off. But so I know that they'll make a big push on retail. They have to. They have to realize that they've got to make a big push, get people to see it in action,
yeah.
and then really hope that there's word of mouth.
It's going to
So
require
it's
I'll be honest with you. I think it's going to require a marketing miracle for this to work out.
it's going to require heavy marketing, and it's going to require a killer app.
So
And a lot of people have said that like VR is the killer app, but honestly, it's going to take more than that.
in your mind, what would a killer app be for VR? What would that look like?
So
Would it be a first-person shooter? Because I feel like that would be probably the market they're going for.
I'm not sure if it's going to be a first-person shooter or or something that's like an interactive TV show. I've heard a little bit about they did a little Game of Thrones VR scene where you could look around in 360 degrees, and see what was going on, and you get that virtual or that surround sound,
Yeah.
and all that. So I feel like that might be the best direction for them to go in, because I'm not sure what they can do in terms of games that's going to. I mean, this is a $2 billion acquisition, right?
Yeah. So to be clear, you are a believer in virtual reality, but you just don't understand how it's going to work at this point, or are you trying to be a detractor from it, or which is it exactly?
I think it's going to be big, but
But you just don't know how.
But I'm not sure if it's going to be like huge with a more niche crowd, or if it's going to be huge like mass market crowd, like the Wii was, for example.
Okay. Yeah. Fair enough.
And like I know that it's going to have a big market though, but it's just like, how big is that market going to be?
Yeah.
Is it going to be like utterly massive mass market, or is it going to be a smaller market that's very dedicated to it?
It's hard to say right now exactly what its appeal is going to be for me, because I think its appeal is going to be zero. But if it actually takes off, I don't know how big it could possibly get.
And that's, I think, what we're going to look for at this E3 is, does Sony push
can they create
Project Morpheus?
Yeah,
And do they say, like, hey, Morpheus is coming this year, check out this awesome new game we have for it.
They're gonna have to
And
have Until Dawn as as their launch project, because that's the only thing that would get me to buy it. A horror game. We talked about this on the
Yes.
regular podcast at one point. A horror game would be what would get me into VR. So
a horror game that just makes your heart stop.
yeah, you'd actually die in real life.
Wouldn't that be something?
The game that is so scary, a game that is so scary that it could actually kill you. I don't know if people would want to play that. Maybe, I don't know.
Are you sure?
Maybe.
Like let's
I don't
say
think
that is what happens.
I don't think you could legally sell that.
Let's say that's what happens. Like, it's not that that's how they market it. It's just it comes out. They've got a horror game that comes out for it, and somebody with bad health and that gets scared really easily plays this game, ends up having a heart attack or something, and the media becomes the marketing.
Hey, any publicity is good publicity.
Right?
So
like,
yeah.
how would you not have a lot of people who suddenly see all over in like the newspaper and on the news channels and trending on Twitter?
No, you're totally right about that.
They see like, check out this game, or this guy played this game in VR. You won't believe what happens next.
Oh
He
my
dies.
gosh, those freaking BuzzFeed articles. Like
The worst, right?
Top not 15. It's a weird number. Top 19 reasons you're going to die from playing this game.
It'll be
And
something
the-
like
the-
that. It'll be like,
number
this
one.
man died playing this game. Click on this article to find out why.
I hate those articles. They drive me insane. I don't want to click on anything. Just tell me. Then I'll decide if I want to click. Clickbait is the worst. And that is exactly why we tag every...
But it works.
That's exactly why we tag every episode with words like sex, so that people will watch them. Yeah. So, no, I mean, that's a secret of the industry, actually. Actually, we don't really do that, because apparently that's against YouTube's TOS. Like, you can't misadvertise your videos, or they will get taken down. So we do not do that.
Well, we did talk about Catherine, so...
Oh, that doesn't count, though. Well, I mean, so what are you saying? So we could potentially tag it with that because it happened to
Yes.
Catherine? All right, that makes sense.
For one episode.
Yeah, sure. Let's do that.
And you know I have a Vita, and we know what kind of games come out on Vita.
Oh, boy. I thought you said you were uncomfortable with anime.
I'm not, but
That's all that you get on there.
If it's clickbait...
Yeah, that's true. All right. This was Effortless, everybody. If you liked our show, I don't know how you did. Today was very dry, I thought. But so look, we're just going to criticize the show on the air.
Please, come talk to me. Let's talk about Mario 64 in the comments.
Yeah.
Let's talk about...
He's been getting in the comments a little bit. So
yeah. Let's talk about Catherine. Let's talk about VR, what you think is going to happen with VR, if there is a killer app for VR.
Your favorite snacks to eat while you're playing your fat video games.
Who's going to come to the VR market first? Is it going to be the Morpheus? Is it going to be the HTC Android? Is it going to be Oculus?
Ooh, all interesting questions that can be answered only by you in the comments. Oh, 1 second. Before we go, I wanted to plug one other thing. So last night I recorded a show with a group that is not the ZBN. It's a website called Groovy that I'm sure I've talked about on this show before.
Yes.
But Groovy is a website that it's kind of like Goodreads for video games is how they're making me advertise it. And it's a very good website if you collect a lot of games, so go check it out. We're going to be doing I'm sort of the new podcast host kind of over there. So I'm doing another podcast project. So if you like me, check that out because I talk a lot about games on that thing and other things as well. We talked about our cats a lot on last night's show. So check that out. It's coming up soon. And check out Groovy in the meantime.
Yes. Cats in backlogs.
Yes. So that.
How could you ever go wrong?
Yeah, and as for this show, we hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe as always. And I don't know what else.
And comment.
Oh yeah, you can comment too. Leave us your problems. We'll answer them next week. Anything else?
Perfect.
You got anything else?
No.
I got nothing. My wife's playing Splatoon, so I'm super distracted because she's fighting the boss in the single player mode, and I'm like, this boss actually looks really hard, so I don't want to do it. I don't want to play against this boss.
Yes, you do.
It's like a big like purple cube. It's almost like you're fighting a GameCube.
It can't be worse than the manta ray in Super Mario Sunshine.
That freaking boss. Oh my gosh, that drove me crazy. Though I remember as a kid, I also had a really hard time with that one where you have to clean up all the ink off the beach like a second time. That was really hard for me at the time. But
Those
are we
flood controls.
yeah. Are we supposed to be ending the show? I don't know. If you're still listening,
Yes.
thank you. You're a saint. Goodbye, everybody. This was Effortless. I'm Spiegel. He's Piddle.
This is
I
Piddle.
think. And
Peace.
yeah, we're doing another show soon. Go listen. Bye.